this conversation we're having right now, if I was watching it 7 years ago, that would have a tremendous impact on the way I do things.
Publishing can be a lonely journey. Getting around people like this, it also gives you that feeling of connection that you might be lacking.
100%.
I have a publishing mentee named Ian. He reached $45,000 in December, and he started 1.5 years ago. I taught him Bookbeam.
Is it still a good time to start publishing?
So Amazon is the largest paid search engine in the world. People are on Amazon not to search for information, but they're there to buy.
How is Peter Colquist using ChatGPT or AI tools in his publishing?
One overall strategy that is very useful, I would say it's...
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is Gerald Confianza, and I have here a very special guest that we've had before, and I have the honor of inviting again, which is Peter Colquist. How are you doing, Peter?
Very well. Thank you very much for having me on once again.
Oh man, thank you for accepting. And actually, I have a huge surprise for everyone watching this video. This video is going to be an interview to Peter, in which I'm going to delve a bit deeper into what is going to be happening in self-publishing in 2025. A new year has just begun, and I think that there is no better way to learn what is going to happen this year than from Peter and from people making, not only good amounts of money on Amazon PDP, but from understanding the whole algorithm, understanding the trends, understanding the business model. So I think, Peter, you are, if not one of the, if not the best of publishers that are that you can actually, find on YouTube, you can actually find anywhere. And I think there is no better person to be asking these questions to than to you. And also adding to that is the fact that we are going to be hosting an event in Peru. So Peter is actually going to come to Peru, which actually shocked me, man. Tell me a little bit about this decision. How did it happen? What motivated you?
One motivation is I've always had on the vision board that I want to see Machu Picchu. So that is one thing. And I was thinking, where do I want to go this year? Because usually I go somewhere. For example, last year I went to Mexico, and I think the year before as well I went to Mexico. So I'm practicing my Spanish, and it makes sense to go to a country in Latin America. But more importantly, we connected more and more, and I also wanted to meet you and having an event. It seemed like the perfect timing. Sometimes things simply align, and that's how I feel about this.
That took me by surprise, and we've been excited, and we're preparing a lot of things for you. We actually have a very, very cute gift that we have for you. I think you will enjoy it. It's a very Peruvian gift. But anyways, I'm very happy that you made this decision, and we'll welcome you with open arms. And taking advantage of the fact that, Peter is coming to Peru, we decided, why not host an event? I think a lot of publishers from South America, from Peru, can benefit from the knowledge that Peter shares. So this event will be happening on February 1st, Saturday. It is February 1st, yeah, Saturday, February 1st in Lima, Peru, in Miraflores. We have a venue that's near La Recomara. For anyone interested, if you want to learn more about this event, you want to be part of it, we're not charging any crazy fee or anything like that, even though it should be a crazy fee, because we had to make some really fast implementations, if you want to learn more about that, go on the description and find the link for it, and you can get your ticket there. Anyways, let's get into the interview. Peter, you've built a very successful publishing business, but I would like people to know how you started. What was your starting like? And what were the biggest challenges that you had to overcome to get to the point where you're at now? And if you could also introduce a little bit of where you're standing now in publishing as far as earnings and as far as the experience you have as well.
Okay, absolutely. So let's go back a little bit over 10 years. I was working in a fish factory in my neighboring country here. And I was working long hours, long days, and I was making boxes for 12 hours a day And at one point, the bosses at the fish factory, they decided to cut the pay. And I remember feeling very powerless, not just in the sense that I couldn't do anything. There was nothing I could say. But I also remember vividly being moved around like a cog in a machine. And that was the experience that gave me the motivation to make a change in my life. And I read a lot of books during that time. And one of the books I read were the 33 Strategies of War and putting yourself on death ground. So, for example, Hernan Cortés, when he wanted to conquer the Aztecs, he burned the boats in order to increase the motivation to conquer. And that is in essence what I wanted to do. So I quit the job in the fish factory. I had 6 months of savings. I moved to a new city in my home country, and I bought a house. I had to convince someone I know to help me buy the house as I took it on mortgage. And I said, I will make this work. And the only allowed way that I said was to make income from a business. So I started first a web shop selling lanterns. I had a book on how to start a business. And that web shop, it had a lot of issues. For example, people weren't paying the bills. And I also had the lanterns that they would break in the mail. And also getting traffic to the site. All of these things were very difficult. So I realized that this business is not going to be profitable. So on the side, I also started a business where I was cold calling companies in Sweden, and I was offering this service where if they had paid too much on electric bills, I would offer them to get that money back. I would do all the paperwork, everything, and then if they got the money back, we would split that amount. So that business model actually worked, and it was very profitable. I remember sending out one bill, it was $10,000 in 1 month, but I was completely miserable because especially when you're doing cold calling, it's easier if you have colleagues around where you can joke, etc. But from that experience, I realized once again that I need to make a change. And I read books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, and I discovered the concept of passive income. And more importantly, I realized that you can make passive income online. So the first idea I got was, okay, I will sell an ebook on a platform called ClickBank. And as I dove deeper, I realized that, okay, but I'm not really going to be doing much different than the web shop. I still have to drive traffic to this ebook, etc. So there was still challenges, even though some of the things were better. But then I discovered Amazon KDP, and I could immediately understand it, and I could immediately see the benefits because I had read all these books and I had these previous experiences with these business models. For example, that the sale can be made without me being there. That's not possible with the cold calling business. And also, there's no shipping. Amazon KDP handles all the shipping. And I don't need to deal with invoicing customers. Amazon pays every 90 days. It's like clockwork. There's never been an issue there. And there are all these factors, for example, international taxes or all these small components, and also the fact that you're leveraging an already existing customer base on Amazon. So Amazon is the largest search engine in the world in terms of being paid. So it's the largest paid search engine in the world. People are on Amazon not to search for information, but they're there to buy. And I remember that really resonating with me. And from there, I started, and within 6 months, I was making $5,000 a month. Now, back then, I hit a roadblock. It was related to getting reviews. That was one of the challenges. And I was thinking with the mindset that, okay, if I'm making $5,000 a month from Amazon KDP, what if I can make $5,000 a month from affiliate marketing or drop shipping? So I started doing these other business models on the side. And I did that for 6 months. I didn't see any results. So in December, when our income is supposed to be very good for self-publishing, my income was half. So it was down at $2,500 roughly. And at that point, I remember listening to Earl Nightingale, and he said, there's nothing more sad than to see a man jump from opportunity to opportunity, now realizing that he stands in his own acres of diamonds, meaning that I was standing in this opportunity, which is book publishing. And sure, there might be challenges, there might be changes, but if there are people still buying books, then that means that there are people or publishers behind those books who are still making money. So all I need to do is adapt. And if a change or something happens for one publisher, it means that it's happening for other publishers as well. So that was my biggest realization. And from that point, I made a commitment. I said, I will get publishing to work or go under in the process. I applied the death ground strategy once more. And from there, the business has been growing steadily year after year. I grew a brand, and I've, of course, gotten the shiny object syndrome a little bit since that. I think we all do from time to time, but I've always come back to publishing. I've always realized that publishing is the way for me, and it's where people can step away for months, even years sometimes, and they still have publishing paying them every single month. And I'm very grateful I found publishing, and now I'm at a point where the total income is, I believe, 4.3 or 4.4 million dollars total on Amazon Cape.
That's amazing. That's amazing how in every part of the process you had that mentality, that Hernan Cortez mentality of, I gotta burn the boats. There's no going back. At that moment, do you ever feel like any doubt? Or how do you overcome the doubt of burning the boats and then having to face the unknown?
That's a good question. How did I overcome the doubt? I thought that if other people can do it, then why can't I do it? I know I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I was seeing other people, other publishers who I thought at least were not smarter than me, who were making more money than me. And then I was thinking, oh, why don't I just figure out what these publishers are doing? And instead of reinventing the wheel, I simply model success, and I figure out what are they doing, and then I apply those strategies. So that's the best way to overcome doubt, is to realize that success doesn't care about our limiting beliefs. It doesn't care about our feelings. It only cares if you showed up or not, if you put in the input. Did you sow the seed? If so, there will be a reward to be reaped, if that's the correct word.
That's perfect. And you mentioned that within a few months' time, you were already making 5K a month. And then by the end of the year, you made 2.5K. Uh, I know how that feels, but I've had something similar happen to me. But now time has passed. You've made over $4 million on Amazon KDP. What does an average month look like for you nowadays on Amazon KDP?
It varies a little bit, but let's say in the beginning of the year, I usually want to plan the releases. So which type of books do I want to publish throughout the year? I will do niche research, I will do title creation, and then from there, I will then put those titles in a list, and then the editor that I have will work with the writers. Maybe I hire other writers as well to write certain books. But in essence, that is how I do. I do the bulk of the work in terms of creating the titles, etc. And then after that, it's more so, okay, now this book is ready to be delivered. Let's create a cover, and that is all automated at this point. So I'm not the one ordering the cover, etc. I'm always the one judging the covers. So every Wednesday I go through and I judge, I select the best covers. And I also always optimize the description. I'm not the one creating the descriptions, but I make slight changes. And those are the main tasks that I do that I believe are most important. Of course, I answer messages and get feedback, but what I like about publishing is that a lot of the tasks can be automated or done by someone else at a lower cost.
That is true. That is true. So would you say that creating the team is probably the best thing that one should do today? Or for publishers maybe that are just starting out or struggling to scale, maybe they're at 500 or $1,000 a month. What's the one high impact strategy they can apply to begin seeing greater results and beginning to scale?
So a great question. I believe it depends on where you're at in your journey. The number one thing to solve in the beginning is to create profitable books. And once you're able to produce profitable books consistently, then the next problem to solve becomes how do we scale that? And that is when you start looking at building a team. So there are many advantages of doing tasks in the beginning yourself, so you can learn everything. And then when you're teaching someone, it will be much easier, etc. So in terms of a one overall strategy that is very useful, I would say it's learning, constantly learning, professional development, becoming a better and skilled publisher, more skilled publisher, and also surrounding yourself with other publishers who have their finger on the pulse, who know what is working right now.
And many people are also curious because we have the event coming up in Peru. Um, in the event, what strategy could someone expect to see? Or is it more going more deeply into what you're sharing now, which is identifying first the ability of creating profitable books and then learning to scale?
My goal with the event will be to give people the understanding of how to succeed in today's marketplace. So not 5 years ago, not 1 year ago, 2 years ago, but what is working right now and how can we not only produce profitable books, but how can we do it at an exceptional level where we're building a foundation which is going to give us this stability and passive income for years. Because sure, you can make money this year, maybe using some loopholes or short-term strategies. But what we want is we want stability. We want to ideally be able to step away from our business after a while and have it still produce value to the Amazon customers and obviously also produce us income without our constant involvement. So that is what I will aim to solve.
That's great. That is amazing. Will we be able to see a little bit into how Peter finds his keywords? Or if you could give us something like very general right now, what is your keyword research process like for someone that might be curious in that? How does someone at your level of publishing finds his keywords?
Absolutely. And in the event, I can also answer any clarifying questions if someone wants to know more deeply about a specific strategy. In terms of now on the call, I believe the book beam is one of my favorite strategies, especially for beginners. I have a publishing mentee named Ian. I've interviewed him on my channel. He reached $45,000 in this December, and he started 1.5 years ago. And I taught him the BookBeam method. I made it mandatory for him. And I think it's a very simple tool to use. So there are tutorials inside BookBeam how to use it, but in essence, you can sort by, for example, the number of reviews you want to compete against. And if you're a beginner, maybe you don't need the lowest sales rank, you just want that initial success. So you can start out with the competition level that you're comfortable with. And I think that is one of the best tools for beginners, but obviously the tools you share are also exceptional.
And what are your thoughts about AI? Peter, right now AI is spreading like wildfire, and it's crazy. It's crazy how good it's becoming every single year. It's improving with great leaps. How is Peter Colquist using ChatGPT or AI tools in his publishing?
I'm using it every day. And I'm using it sometimes I'm using it for advice. Sometimes I'm using it to summarize information. Sometimes I might be using it to generate a draft for an outline. And you can use it for a lot of different things. I think one thing to keep in mind is that you still want that base knowledge, because if you only use ChatGPT to as a magic button and click it and think that you're going to get this amazing work, then that's not the most effective strategy. And in fact, it might also be a risky strategy. So you want to learn how to use AI in the best, safest way possible. Because definitely, if you combine human intelligence and creativity with AI, then you get the best of both worlds. So it has changed how I approach publishing a lot.
Peter, is there a reason why you decided to teach after so many years? Is it perhaps because we're in a very good time now to start publishing? What is it still a good time to start publishing? And then let's start there, actually.
Yes, I believe it's a great time to start publishing. I believe that the competition is generally higher, but really the competition doesn't become a determining factor of whether or not you're successful, as long as you're willing to adapt and learn what is working in today's marketplace. And that brings me to one of the reasons why I started teaching, is that I was a one-man island. I sure I have great results, but I realized that there are other publishers who know things that I might not know, and who might be getting better results per book published, for example. So I really have to put my ego to the side and realize that I can still learn. So taking the student hat on, and realizing that there are still things for me to learn at this point, even 9 years into publishing. And it was also the fact that knowing myself, I've done a lot of things. For example, I started a gym 2 years ago. I became a personal trainer. I know that I have this tendency to go for the shiny object, to chase another opportunity, and by starting this, it's a new challenge for me, and it's something that is fun. And as I'm teaching, I'm also learning, and I get to stay with publishing, and I get to connect with other people who are doing publishing. I get everything that I can really ask for in terms of being able to stay with publishing. If hopefully that provided you with some sort of an answer.
Yeah, 100%. I do feel the same. The reason why I also teach is because when you teach, in a way, you also are forced to learn, right? Yesterday, Ricardo, my business partner, was making fun of me because right now this subscription or this service came out, and they're only invite only, but you had to pay $200 a month. And I bought it, right? I bought it, like, tell Ricardo, hey, look, I bought this KDP subscription for $200 a month, you know. And he's like, you are the weirdest avatar. You're the avatar that buys anything. You're the avatar that anything that comes out, you're always buying. What's wrong with you? Um, and and I started thinking, well, yeah, I am a very weird avatar. I'm the avatar. You pitch anything to, I will buy it. But also it's because you kind of have to, in a way, to teach things. You have to experience and learn them on your own. Always have to be absorbing. You got to know the market. So I 100% agree. When you are required to teach and you want to obviously be good at it, you want to give the best advice, you also have this nagging thing in your head, like, hey, you have to learn more, more and more and more and more. So 100%, man. Okay, now you mentioned something. We had a previous conversation before this interview, but you mentioned something that stopped me. If we had a conversation like this on YouTube and we were the ones watching this video maybe 7 years ago, in my case, 10 years ago for you, um, how crazy this conversation would have been for us. Like if this conversation we're having right now as an interview, if I was watching it 7 years ago, that would have a tremendous impact on the way I do things, right? So this brings me to my next question. Um, for someone who is doubting going to an event like this, because I have people that are from Peru that can easily attend, but I have people also from Miami, from Mexico, from Colombia, from Spain, and they're like, okay, I know I like KDP. I'm making some money. Will I really have to buy myself a ticket to come to Peru and go across the world to meet Gerald and Peter? They're having that last minute resistance. Would you say that this event would be worth it? Well, yeah, what's the investment of time and money?
Yes, I will only speak from my own experience, but back in 2019, you and I we met on in Lake Tahoe. So I had to fly across the world to get to that event, and I I was very eager to get around other publishers, and that is a great way to have your finger on the pulse. Because also what I realized in the event was that people were sharing much more in the event and in person than they were on YouTube, for example. And you also get the opportunity to have a conversation with people and tell them, hey, this is where I'm struggling, or this is how I'm thinking. And then maybe someone else can provide feedback on, well, maybe think like this instead and approach it this way. This is what has worked for me. So I've always seen the value in professional development. I think it was Brian Tracy that first got me onto this. He talked about a doctor, I believe, that went into this conference in the other side of the world. And he came back, and I believe he made $1 million practice from one idea that he learned in this event. So that is the power of surrounding yourself with other publishers and learning what is working right now, because there might be one idea that changes everything for you, and that is the power of going to an event like this.
100%. If I look at my KDP dashboard, I can actually pinpoint all the times that I kind of just let go and started becoming very dispersed, and my attention went away from publishing, and the times when I had attended events and was applicating and working every single day, I was applying every day what I had learned in the event. So for instance, when I first started publishing, I went on 2018 to an event where I met Jacob, right? And boom, I made a really good Q4. That was my first time making over 10K a month. Then the 2019 event, I met you, and that's the reason why we're having this conversation. Why I'm a part of Driven Publishers. Why right now I think that I'm getting um, a greater pulse of what the market is like, even because of the connection, right? So that was 2019. And then we had 2020. 2020 was a very bad year because no one was doing any events, and you can't really go out of your house for anything, right? And 2020 was the year where I kind of dispersed the most. I was doing other things, doing other businesses, and I realized that in the end, these events do help. They give high ROIs for the people that are taking the business seriously. And also that's coming from my experience as well, right? Um, now, having said that, yeah, sorry.
No, one thing is also publishing can be a lonely journey, and you don't have colleagues around you, which you might have in another uh, profession, let's say. So getting around people like this, it also gives you that feeling of connection that you might be lacking.
100%. I made pretty much my best friends from life almost to publishing. But also it's because, you spend so much time doing it, that you spend so much time with the person as well, that you kind of just uh, create a lot of space for bonding. How do you meet Icon, by the way?
I met him at I don't know the correct word, the translated word, but I met him. I was looking for a property to buy, a real estate investment. I already had one real estate investment with 4 apartments, and I was looking for another one. And he showed me this complex, and I decided not to buy it. But he kept me in mind because he thought it was a little weird. He's making great money, but he looked up and he was thinking, how can Peter? I would think I was 25 years old. How can he afford a real estate like this at such a young age? So he simply kept that in mind. I believe we met one time or something like that out as well. But then he contacted me when there was interest rates in the real estate market were going up, and he was seeing the challenge in terms of getting houses and apartments sold. So he thought, okay, let's have a lunch with Peter and see what is he doing, because he wanted more than one leg to stand on. So we took a lunch. He didn't understand anything of what I was saying, and but after that we started hanging out. I just started my gym, so we worked out together, and he slowly started to realize the lifestyle that I had, and that is what would draw him in, because he was taking calls, he was going there, he was showing this house and this house, and he was having all these problems which were coming at him via phone calls, emails, or requests from other people, etc. And he saw me walking around in the gym, taking it easy, and living a life of freedom. So after that, it took him maybe 1, 2, 3 months, but then he decided that, hey Peter, can you teach me? And I thought, okay, let's go at it. And I gave him the understanding, and I made a prediction. I remember he made a video. Okay, Peter, we have these niches. What do you think these books will make? And I gave a prediction. Now, one of those books didn't go as well, but the other one, it took off, and it did well. And from that point, within 7 months, he made $17,000. He started in May 2023. And in December of 2023, he made $17,000 in December of that month. Fast forward another year, he made $45,000 in December. So that's the short version of how I met Ian.
Nice, nice. It's pretty good. It's pretty good to know, and that also shows the power. Kind of like, okay, learning from a source of information that has done it, is doing, and also, it kind of proves pretty much what we're saying, right? Now that I'm able to have many clients and see the different books and all of that, I definitely think that Ayhan is the best case of someone growing as fast as he did. Like I've never seen anyone in 1.5 years be making 40K in 1 month, like 45K in 1 month. That is insane.
Yes, and when you meet Ian, and you already know this, he likes to mess around a little bit. You can say, okay, he has a big ego. He doesn't mind me saying this, I'm sure, but he has a very high self-confidence. But even though he has this confidence, he still understands that there is a power in learning from someone who is further ahead in whatever I want to get good at. So he simply put his ego to the side, and he said, Peter, teach me everything you know. I'll do exactly what you say. And that's what he did. Of course, he brought resources to invest, and he brought the work ethic. But more importantly, he took the knowledge that I was teaching and he applied it. And that is the base of his success. He didn't think, okay, I need to come up with a new idea or anything like that. He simply modeled success, and that is why I believe he saw, if not one of the fastest results in KDP. And especially, you might see fast results in KDP, but maybe there's one book that made those results. In Ian's case, it's very systematic. There's not one book, so his success is very predictable, and I believe that shows the power in having a system and also applying the right knowledge.
Yeah, his income is very diversified. That comes from a right system of finding keywords, getting books made, publishing and promoting, etc. He's done a great job at that. And here in Peru, well, not in Peru, in Madrid, we're gonna wrestle. That's gonna be interesting, man. Anyways, what's one inclusive insight? I have a list of questions here, but I think that many of them we've already covered, even without going through them. So I don't want to repeat anyone unnecessarily. Let's talk a little bit about just closing up on the event thing. What's one final piece of advice, to that person, considering going, and It's mostly for those that maybe are abroad or have this difficulty. Just a short piece of advice for them.
If there's one thing that I would like to provide the entire community in terms of publishing, it's to help people to not waste unnecessary time and unnecessary money, and to avoid having to spend unnecessary effort or go through unnecessary suffering. I've been through a lot of challenges. I've been wasting a lot of money. I've been wasting a lot of time. And I've gathered a lot of lessons with over 1,600 books published. Now, many of those are translations and some of are unpublished. But when you go through that many books and you see on Amazon, for example, I've probably analyzed tens of thousands of books and seen hundreds of thousands of books on Amazon throughout the years. I do see patterns, and I see patterns what works and what doesn't. And my goal is to help other publishers to remove the guesswork so they don't have to learn by trial and error, or they don't have to waste unnecessary time and go through unnecessary challenges, but to rather do like Ian did, which is to start on the right path right away, and from there see steady results, see steady wins, so you feel that you're making your dream into a reality and you can see it tangibly in the results that you're getting. As long as you feel confident in your knowledge and in the system that you're following, I believe I've done my part. Then it's up for the person that's attending to apply all the knowledge and keep going and staying focused, which we've discussed in this interview. But that is in essence my goal. Hopefully that gave an answer.
No, that is perfect. That is perfect. And that also kind of tells us basically what people can get or what they can expect from this, right? Which is you're not just buying a flight, you're not just spending a day, but you're actually saving yourself tens of thousands, maybe more, in dollars spent inadequately, inefficiently, or you're saving yourself years of perhaps being stuck, of not being able to scale, and just avoiding yourself a lot of problems inside a business. I gather, or I remember something that you always mentioned, right? It's very common, it's very normal for anyone in any profession to always be learning more. If you're a doctor, you always go to seminars. If you're an engineer, you're always doing, when in Spanish it's called capacitaciones, you're always doing like, I don't know, trainings and stuff like that. You're always improving. You can't ever stop. But for some reason in publishing or in the digital marketing space, we think that, we can decide not to train or not to keep learning. And that's a big red flag. Peter, I think you've answered all the questions that I had for you. I think that this conversation was very fruitful. Is there any closing remarks that you would like to share with everyone?
Thank you very much for having me on. It's been an honor, and I'm looking forward to meeting you and hopefully other people who will be attending the event. I'm looking forward to speaking with you. I'm looking forward to practicing my Spanish. Hopefully you give me that opportunity, and yeah, it's going to be fun and it's going to be educational, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you, everyone. For more details on the event, check out the description. Goodbye.